Hi, this is Stephen Brower. This video is meant for the spring 2017 Computer Architecture and Assembly Language class. This is meant to be a brief description of what the project for the semester will be. I will be sending shortly, well, if you're looking at the video, you probably already got the email, but I'll be sending a PDF that's going to describe the project. I'm going to go through it a little bit, but the PDF has sort of like an overview of what the program is going to be, some technical requirements that it's going to have, some allowable deviations that you can take for working on the project. And then it has sort of a screenshot from the program. This is the thing I'm going to run in a moment. And then this thing right here is a complete run through the program until finally you quit and get the exit at the end. The PDF that I'm sending only has one of the extra credit options in it. I'll go over this in a bit, but it's using color to highlight the current position, which is off the screen right now. The one down below is down below. Anyway, I'll go through that. So let me run the program and let me hit the right key. Okay. The premise behind the program is you're going to be using a two-dimensional array to keep track of, well, what I'm doing for this silly little thing is saying this is a field of daisies. And my current location indicated by this little caret right here, I'm currently in 0, 0. But what it's asking me to do is really to enter in a row number. And what it'll do is it'll jump to that spot. So if I want to stay in 0, 0, I would put 0, 0. And it'll gather daisies at the spot. Well, at a glance, if I just peek over here, what's catching my eye is this one's 100, and that's going to be a great place to gather some daisies. And so that's at row 9, column 8. So I'm going to do row 9. Whoop, I'm going to do row 9, column 8. And so what that did is, first it's reporting there were 100 daisies there. When we pick daisies, we don't get all of them. So it only gathered 80% of the daisies. I have a mention in the document as a hint on how you can figure out 80% because this is an array of integers. Well, if you have 100 daisies, you gather 80. As you can see here, there's 20 left. At the end, what I want to do, exit the program, what I just did was called a gathering. And at the end, it'll report how many number of gatherings you had and the total number of daisies collected. Let me just pick a lower number just so we can, so far we've collected 80 daisies. And let me just pick something lower. I'm going to pick this one here, the 60, which is at row 6, column 1. Row 6, column 1. So remember, I did say there were 60. It gathered 60%, which was 48. So previously, I gathered 80 daisies. Here I gathered 48. And so I'm just mentally counting that up. That should be 128. If I'm doing my math right. And so let me do just one more gather before I exit. Oh, by the way, the non-extra credit version of this project, you can assume that when the user enters a row number, it will be a valid row. When the user enters a column number, it will be a valid column. For this run I'm showing here, I do have 12 rows and 12 columns, but if you change the max rows and max columns, you'll have a different value. The values will be different. So let me just go and let me just arbitrarily just pick, I don't know, this 17. Okay, so there were 53 daisies. It gathered 42. So if I have an additional 42 gathered, that should be 170 daisies if my math is right. So right now, let's just say I want to quit this program. Now I did 3 gatherings. The first one I gathered 80 daisies. The second one I gathered 48 daisies. The third one I gathered 42 daisies. So when I exit, it'll come back and it'll say, well, you had 3 gatherings and you collected 170 daisies total. But there's no like real purpose to this. It's not like any kind of a game. It's not like you figure out a proportion, and if it's below a certain thing, you get an award, or above a certain amount, you get an award. This is just meant to be this silly little thing. Okay, so this was the non-extra credit run. Is not going to do any error checking on row and column. And the only thing that it does to indicate where the last row and column you just entered is just this little caret. And this is going to be simple when you're after you display the value at a spot, you compare its row and column that when you just displayed to the row and column just entered. And if it's a match, you display the caret or the less than sign. If not, you display space. And so the reason why everything else lines up is in all the other ones, which was not the row entered, it was displaying space. Okay, for one more run real quick, let me change here in the code. Here, let me change here in the code just to show that if we can use a different dimension. So I'm going to use 3 rows and 7 columns just for giggles and grins. I'll recompile and I'll rerun. And so now I have this smaller field of daisies. And again, the non-extra credit will assume the user enters in proper values. So the 97 is catching my eye. Let me go and gather that one. So 1, 5. And so it collected the daisies, and now let me just, for giggles and grins, just get out. So one gathering, and I got 77 daisies. Okay, let me pause this for a second. Okay, I'm back. What I want to show right now is an extra credit option available for this project. And the extra credit option is to not only by using the caret, to indicate where the current spot is, it also is going to highlight the row and the column. Now, I wasn't splitting hairs over how the actual element is. In other words, this could have been green instead of being this cyan that the other one is. But if I just change, and again, 100's catching my eye, so let me come over here to 810. So if I go to 810, okay, so it gathered daisies, 80% of the daisies from there, and then you can see that the row 8 and the column 10 has been highlighted, so I can see this is where I just was. That's where the last gathering had just taken place. Here, let me just do this 98 here, 10, 6, and I just did a gather at that point. Okay, so an extra credit option is to sort of accentuate where the row and column that the user has just selected, accentuate it using the color. You don't have to use the exact color that I have here, but highlight the entire row, highlight the entire column to indicate it's the intersection of the row and column that is the current one that's on. Whether or not this here is either the green or the cyan, or you can use a different color altogether, that's, there's some leeway in that. The bigger thing is looking for is that the row and column are a different color than the rest of the board. Okay, so I just wanted to give a tiny little demo. I think by showing a run helps a little bit more than just a PDF. And well, I'll see you guys long before this thing is due, but here's a starting point. Have fun.